Hello, I'm glad you're here. I'm NatsMan, and I'm reading the Bible from the beginning to the end, from Genesis to Revelations. Please join me in this journey and make God's Word a part of your everyday life. This is video number 102, and today we're reading from the book of 1 Samuel, starting in chapter 25. 1 Samuel chapter 25. Samuel died, and all Israel gathered themselves together and mourned for him, and buried him at his house in Ramah. Then David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. There was a man in Maon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail. This woman was intelligent and had a beautiful face, but the man was surly and evil in his doings. He was of the house of Caleb. David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, "Go up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. Tell him, 'Long life to you, peace be to you, peace be to your house, peace be to all that you have. Now I have heard that you have shearers. Your shepherds have now been with us, and we didn't harm them. Nothing was missing from them all the time they were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore let the young men find favor in your eyes, for we come on a good day. Please give whatever comes to your hand to your servants and to your son David.' When David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal all those words in the name of David and waited. Nabal answered David's servants and said, 'Who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants who break away from their masters these days. Shall I then take my bread, my water, and my meat that I have killed for my shearers and give it to men who don't know where they come from?' So David's young men turned on their way and went back and came and told him all these words. David said to his men, 'Every man put on his sword.' Every man put on his sword. David also put on his sword. About 400 men followed David, and 200 stayed by the baggage. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, 'Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to greet our master, and he insulted them. But the men were very good to us, and we were not harmed, and we didn't miss anything as long as we went with them when we were in the fields. They were a wall to us both night and by day, all the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what you will do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his house, for he is such a worthless fellow that one can't speak to him.' Then Abigail hurried and took 200 loaves of bread, 2 containers of wine, 5 sheep ready dressed, 5 seahs of parched grain, 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on donkeys. She said to her young men, 'Go on before me. Behold, I am coming after you.' But she didn't tell her husband Nabal. As she rode on her donkey and came down hidden by the mountain, behold, David and his men came down towards her, and she met them. Now David had said, 'Surely in vain I have kept all that this fellow has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missing of all that pertained to him. He has returned me evil for good. God do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if I leave of all that belongs to him by the morning light, so much as one who urinates on a wall.' When Abigail saw David, she hurried and got off her donkey, and fell before David on her face, and bowed herself to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, 'O me, my lord, on me be the blame. Please let your servant speak in your ears. Hear the words of your servant. Please don't let my lords pay attention to this worthless fellow Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, your servant, didn't see my lord's young men whom you sent. Now therefore, my lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, since the Lord has withheld you from blood guiltless and from since the Lord has withheld you from blood guiltiness and from avenging yourself with your own hand, now therefore let your enemies and those who seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal. Now this present which your servant has brought to my Lord, let it be given to the young men who follow my Lord. Please forgive the trespass of your servant, for the Lord will certainly make my house a sure house, because my Lord fights the Lord's battles. Evil will not be found in you all your days. Though men may rise up to pursue you and to seek your soul, yet the soul of my Lord will be bound in the bundle of life with the Lord your God. He will sling out the souls of your enemies as from a sling's pocket. It will come to pass when the Lord has done to my Lord according to all the good that he has spoken concerning of you, and has appointed you prince over Israel, that this shall be no grief to you, nor offense of heart to my Lord, either that you have shed blood without cause, or that my Lord has avenged himself. When the Lord has dealt well with my master, then remember your servant. David said to Abigail, Blessed is the Lord, the God of Israel, who sent you today to meet me. Blessed is your discretion, and blessed are you, who have kept me today from blood guiltiness, and from avenging myself with my own hand. For indeed, as the Lord the God of Israel lives, who has withheld me from harming you, unless you have hurried and come to meet me, surely there would have been left to Nabal. Surely there wouldn't have been left to Nabal by the morning light so that much as one who urinates on a wall. So David received from her hand that which she had brought him. Then he said to her, Go up in peace to your house. Behold, I have listened to your voice and have granted your request. Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house like the feast of a king. Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunk. Therefore she told him nothing until the morning light. In the morning, when the wine had gone out of Nabal, his wife told him these things, and his heart died within him, and he became a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal so that he died. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed is the Lord, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and has kept back his servant from evil. The Lord has returned the evil doing of Nabal on his own head. David sent and spoke concerning Abigail to take her to himself as wife. When David's servants had come to Abigail in Carmel, they spoke to her, saying, David has sent us to you to take you to him as wife. She arose and bowed herself with her face to the earth and said, Behold, your servant is a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord. Abigail hurriedly arose and rode on a donkey with her 5 maids who followed her, and she went after the messengers of David and became his wife. David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they both became his wives. Now Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Palti, the son of Laish, who was in Golim. That's the end of 25. Now 1 Samuel 26. The Ziphites came to Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doesn't David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before the desert? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. Saul encamped in the hill of Hachilah, which is before the desert, by the way, but David stayed in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul had certainly come. Then David arose and came to the place where Saul had encamped, and David saw the place where Saul lay, with Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his army. Saul lay within the place of the wagons, and the people were encamped around him. Then David answered and said to Ahimelech the Hittite and to Abishai the son of Zeruiah, brother of Job, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul to the camp? Abishai said, I will go down with you. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the place of the wagons, with his spear stuck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the people lay around him. Then Abishai said to David, God has delivered up your enemy into your hand today. Now therefore, please let me strike him with the spear to the earth at one stroke, and I will not strike him the second time. David said to Abishai, Don't destroy him, for who can stretch out his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? David said, As the Lord lives, the Lord will strike him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall go down into battle and perish. The Lord forbid that I should stretch out my hand against the Lord's anointed. But now please take the spear that is at his head, and the jar of water, and let's go. So David took the spear and the jar of water from Saul's head, and they went away. No man saw it or knew it, nor did any awake, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord had fallen on them. Then David went over to the other side and stood on the top of the mountain far away, a great space being between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Don't you answer, Abner? Then Abner answered, Who are you who calls to the king? David said to Abner, Aren't you a man? Who is like you in Israel? Why then have you not kept watch over your lord the king? For one of the people came in to destroy your lord the king. This thing isn't good that you have done. As the Lord lives, you are worthy to die, because you have not kept watch over your lord, the Lord's anointed. Now see where the king's spear is, and the jar of water that was at his head. Saul recognized David's voice and said, Is that your voice, my son David? David said, It is my voice, my lord, O king. He said, Why does my lord pursue his servant? For what have I done? What evil is in my hand? Now therefore, please let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If it is so that the Lord has stirred you up against me, let him accept an offering. But if it is the children of men, they are cursed before the Lord, for they have driven me out today, that I shouldn't cling to the Lord's inheritance, saying, Go serve other gods. Now therefore, don't let my blood fall to the earth away from the presence of the Lord. For the king of Israel has come out to seek a flea, as when one hunts a partridge in the mountains. Then Saul said, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will do no more harm. I will no more do you harm, because my life was precious in your eyes today. Behold, I have played the fool, and have erred exceedingly. David answered, Behold the spear, O king. Let one of the young men come over and get it. The Lord will give to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness, because the Lord delivered you into my hand today, and I wouldn't stretch my hand against the Lord's anointed. Behold, as your life was respected today in my eyes, so let my life be respected in the Lord's eyes, and let him deliver me out of all oppression. Then Saul said to David, You are blessed, my son David. You will both do mightily and will surely prevail. So David went his way, and Saul returned to his place. That was 26. Now 27. David said in his heart, I will now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than that I should escape to be into the land of the Philistines, and Saul will despair of me to seek me any more in all the borders of Israel. So I will escape out of his hand. David arose and passed over, he and the 600 men who were with him, to Achish the son of Maoch, king of Gath, David lived with Achish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, even David with his 2 wives, Ahinoam and the Jezreelitess, and Abigail the Carmelitess, Nabal's wife. Saul was told that David had fled to Gath, so he stopped looking for him. David said to Achish, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, let them give me a place in one of the cities in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should your servant dwell in the royal city with you?" Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day. Therefore Ziklag belongs to the kings of Judah to this day. The number of the days that David lived in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. David and his men went up and raided the Geshurites, the Girzites, and the Amalekites, for those were the inhabitants of the land who were of old on the way to Shur, even to the land of Egypt. David struck the land and saved no man or woman alive, and took away the sheep, the cattle, the donkeys, the camels, and the clothing. Then he returned and came to Achish. Achish said, "Against whom have you made a raid today?" David said, "Against the south of Judah, against the south of Jerahmeelites, and against the south of the Kenites." David saved neither man nor woman alive to bring them to Gath, saying, lest they should tell about us, saying, "David did this, and this has been his way all the time he has lived in the country of the Philistines." Achish believed David, saying, "He has made his people Israel utterly to abhor him. Therefore he will be my servant forever." That is the end of 1 Samuel 27 and the end of this video. That was the book of 1 Samuel, chapters 25, 26, and 27, on the video number 102. I would like to thank you for joining me in this project, this endeavor to read the entire Bible. I hope you enjoy listening as much as I enjoy reading. Please feel free to comment if you would like, and also please subscribe and give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If this is your first visit to NatsMan Reads the Bible, I leave a link in the description to the intro video that explains what we're working to accomplish here. I hope you come back for the next video, and until then, thank you. I hope you have a blessed day. I'm NatsMan, and I am out.